How many roughly informant murders do you think there were?
There were 28 documented informant. There were 28 documented informant murders that Andy Tarteglino was trying to solve. And I talk about a number of them in my book, The Strength of the Wolf, and how about how this situation arises and how it arises out of the very nature of drum law enforcement itself and this need to make two buys and a bust, and this fatal relationship that narcotic agents have with informants, where the informants start actually running the agents, and the competition between the agents in the office, and the lack of any inspection service to keep track of them, because nobody could make any cases at all if everybody followed the rules. The only way to make cases was to bend the rules. And all this climaxes through the 1960s. And of course, I knew that Andy was who Tully Alcampora had introduced me to, the CIA officer, and that Andy was the sort of like this, he's been described as sort of like a Dominican priest who was this very straight-laced guy and hated corruption and wanted to get all the bad agents. And I should say was thwarted in his efforts because the corrupt agents had a lot of protectors themselves because they were making cases. Anyway, so I went to the three agents who were most, the three best case-making agents in the Bureau of Narcotics. Three guys who all agreed to talk with me based on this agreement I made with them. And I wouldn't connect them to any of the murders. Frankie Waters, Lenny Schreier, and Frank Selvaggi. And Selvaggi was considered, all three of these guys were considered the best case-making officers in New York City in the 1960s. And they all ended up resigning from the Bureau of Narcotics in the fall of 1967, just a few months before the Bureau of Narcotics itself was disbanded. And because of this huge corruption investigated and moved from the Treasury Department into the Department of Justice in a new organization called the Bureau of Narcotics and Dangerous Drugs. And Schreier, Waters, and Selvaggi all talked to me at length. And they all explained to me the situation from their point of view, what it took to make cases on really vicious mafia drug traffickers, on really truly vicious French Corsican drug traffickers, on really truly vicious drug traffickers in Harlem or anywhere around the world, and how if you followed the letter of the law, you weren't going to get anywhere. And in the course of making these cases, they had to actually be tougher, and they had to be more vicious, and they had to be willing to do everything that these really vicious drug traffickers did, and they had to be tougher and better at it than them. And that this is the situation that led to this really awful situation that led to the abolition of an entire branch of the United States government and its reformation. And Andy Tarteglino's corruption investigation has been entirely classified by the United States government.
I bet.
The details of what went on, nobody can know about it. There are reports
To this day.
to this day. It's in 1976, 75, a Senate committee that was investigating the entire history of corruption within the Bureau of Narcotics, the Bureau of Narcotics and Dangerous Drugs, and the DEA, classified all of Tarteglino's investigative reports and put them under lock and seal for 50 years. And they will not become available to the public, if they become available to the public, in 2025.